Hi, and welcome back to another episode of Lost and Found with Frankie. And today is really exciting for me as I have my lovely brother Harry on. Another Cragg family member has made an appearance to the pod today. And we talk about sibling grief, obviously, but also how it's so individual and specific to that person, even if you've lost the same person within your family or within your life. We talk about growing up with grief and just not comparing yourself to anyone else in this journey. And yeah, it's a really lovely conversation. Thank you so much for being here with me today. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome to Lost and Found with Frankie, a podcast for young adults and teens who are just trying to figure out who they are whilst dealing with one of life's most devastating experiences, grief. I'm Frankie, and 10 years ago, when I was 13 years old, I lost my eldest brother, Matt. Like you're probably feeling now, I felt lost, alone, angry, and completely overwhelmed with sadness, and was just craving a space where I could go and feel comforted and understood. So this podcast is my way of creating that space for you, whilst opening up the taboo topic of grief, which so many of us experience. So if you're feeling lost on your journey with grief, hi, and welcome to this safe space. Thank you so much for being here with me today. You are not alone, and I hope that this podcast brings whatever it is that you're seeking on your journey. So let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back. And today I have got my brother Harry on. Another Cragg family member has made an appearance. So
yeah.
Hi.
How
welcome, Hazza. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm quite...
Feeling good?
Yeah, it's very, I guess, surreal, but to be in this, I guess, in a podcast studio with you.
First pod?
Yeah.
Oy.
Maybe the last, we'll see.
No, you never know.
No.
Okay.
Well, thanks for having me on.
Thanks for coming on.
And that's a polite thing to say in these podcasts, yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing to say. Good start. But yeah, thanks for coming on. I feel very honoured that you wanted to come on, because this is obviously something really close to both of us.
Yeah.
But I think it will be really helpful for a lot of people listening, like two siblings talking about the same grief, but how we've dealt with it differently and some parts the same, just showing that obviously grief is so individual, even when you've lost the same person.
Yeah.
And yeah, sibling grief is a tough one, because you don't ever think you'll experience it. It doesn't, like, you don't fathom that will happen to you.
No.
Because siblings the same age as you, like, it's out of order, it's unnatural. And it's almost like, I used to think to myself back at the time, I was like, it's something you see in movies, it's never going to happen to me. Even that day where Matt passed away at home, one vivid memory I have is like, oh my God, what am I going to, like, tell school? I haven't done my Latin homework. I'm just going to have to tell them that Matt was unwell, but he's fine now.
Yeah.
Because you just don't, you don't think that's going to happen to you. So...
You did Latin, did you?
Yeah, I had to do Latin. It sucked. It was so bad. I could barely do English.
Yeah. I mean, you're right. Sibling grief is so unique. Grief is unique for everyone. Obviously, as we've seen in this podcast, everyone has their own grief, own sort of pathways to it and how they deal with it. But yeah, as we know, with sibling grief, as we've experienced, is just really, really tough, and
yeah, it's weird,
and not something that you're ever prepared for.
No.
I mean, it's pretty much the first grief that we dealt with.
Yeah,
really, before grandparents. I mean,
it was our first loss.
Yeah, first loss,
and that's a big one to have. Yeah,
and he obviously changes you a lot.
Yeah, and I think that day as well is something that, like, I talk about, like, with my friends. I don't know if you have.
Yeah.
You talk to your friends about, like, the day and how it all happened, but the fact that you and I were both there and know, like, in our own way what happens, like, I feel like we've never really massively spoken about it because you don't have to describe it to each other, almost.
Yeah, because you kind of both experienced it, but...
So you have, like, a mutual understanding that when you do talk about it in a different sense.
Yeah.
But it was, like, a horrible day, and you're one of very few people that
Yeah, I mean...
have it as well.
Yeah, I guess we've never really spoken about how you found that day, or your sort of all your sort of independent sort of thoughts and thought process that went on throughout the day. But yeah, I mean, I remember being with Matt the night before, watching the Rugby Championship, Australia Pumas. We watched the first half and then thought, I think either me or Matt was probably too tired, so we'll watch the second half in the morning when we get up the next day. Obviously, sadly, never got to get up and watch that game. And I never even watched that game back, because that second half back, I know the result, but not that I really cared too much about it. But Puma's first win in their Rugby Championship, but yeah, never sort of watched that game back. And it's, I don't know, that's like little things like that.
And they give you weird hindsight of like overplaying a lot the night before. And I think, have you had this like now going into life? Has that given you like, I've got to think about those moments way more? Like now I'm always like, have to like text people that I love them and little things like that. And like, I always worry that I'm going to leave myself with a feeling like that again.
Yeah, I think you do definitely want to, let people who are close to you know.
Yeah, you don't ever want to leave anything on a.
Yeah, I mean, look, that
bad note.
Yeah, but like, look, how are we to know? You know, that's the whole point about Matt's grief, that we really struggle as siblings. I mean, don't want to put words in your mouth, but just the suddenness of it all, and how like it was such a normal day before, and then your whole life changes on a morning, wake up, and he was
so healthy.
Yeah, I think he played rugby that day on the Saturday,
literally. And I feel, and I think as well a lot to come out of that was also quite like practical. Like even still now, we don't fully 100% know why he passed away, and I think that's been really hard for all of us. Again, don't want to put words in your mouth, but
completely, it's
hard not having sort of, I guess, that level of closure, like a definitive answer.
Yeah, it's like I don't really want to know like the answer, but like it
feels weird not to have it.
Obviously, we know like how, but like we don't know why in a way. And that's why Cragg is an amazing charity that we've raised a lot of money for, and they do wonderful things for
to help
like, across the UK.
And I guess with what happened with Matt, it's more just about getting stuff early, I guess, and that's what Cragg do.
Yeah.
But that also ties into a little bit of like of going back to school. But that's also another thing that is weird that we had to do at such a young age, is wear heart monitors, and we had to do heart screenings.
Yeah.
Which just sucked. And you had to run on a treadmill, and also none of us knew that was coming, which was fun. So I don't know how that was for you.
Well, I remember Mum just being like, well, as part of, I guess, the bereavement process, and with Cragg putting us in touch with cardiology department at St. James Hospital, who do an amazing job, with parents and siblings, and anyone associated, I think, genetically with someone who, had what Matt had. So we went there, and then I remember we had to do all these tests just to check for things in our heart, which in itself is very daunting. Like not knowing,
especially at that age, like it's a lot.
But as you say, we had to do the running test. Did my first test in jeans, which didn't give me the I guess the best time, or maybe I didn't perform to my best. But
you must have been like, I would have been like stressing, like, oh my God, it's going to give like a bad result of my running and my heart when I'm running.
But there's a thing, like you just I guess we were just thrown into that, I guess, at a young age, and then obviously doing all those tests, and wearing those heart monitors is again.
I hated those things.
I mean, so did I. Very surreal experience.
Just really intrusive as well. Like, I think going back to school anyway is like so overwhelming. And then it was only once a year, but we had to like wear these 24-hour heart monitors.
Yeah.
I don't know the science behind it all, but it's sort of like those sticky things you have in an ECG.
Yeah, exactly that.
Sort of just monitoring.
Measure your
we had
heart
to obviously go into school with it because it was usually in the week, and they're so obvious.
Yeah. I
And
mean,
then you have
it
everyone looking
attached
at
to
you.
your,
Yeah.
and they were kind of just very uncomfortable. They're
Also,
uncomfortable physically, but also very uncomfortable.
People
at
lurking.
the age of 16,
yeah.
and for yourself 13, you're wearing a heart monitor at school.
Yeah.
Like that doesn't feel right.
No, something's so like not right about that. It's so not normal. And I also feel like, I don't know if you had this, but then I would stress so much that day that my heart was normal. I would try and just be like really zen.
Yeah.
And like not get angry and be like, because I didn't want there to be any, which was silly because you're meant to just be normal with it so that they can see what your heart is like in all. So you're meant to like play sport, everything. Like they want you to just have a normal day.
Just sleep in it. That was uncomfortable.
Yes.
In your rib cage. Your rib cage.
I always thought, could they know if I'm having like a really bad nightmare or something? Like
Probably,
3 a.m. or something.
Probably.
I was like, But yeah, we both went back to school pretty quick, which some people seemed, whenever I say that to people, they're really shocked.
Yeah.
But then I'm like, what else were we meant to do?
I think, looking back on it, I guess it was kind of a bit early, really.
Well, it was a week.
A week, yeah. So it was kind of a bit early, but I mean, as we've touched on before, obviously everything around losing Matt and when we lost Matt was all in and around our house, basically. So it wasn't, external, all sort of happened at home. So being at home, was really difficult, obviously, but you felt quite constricted and claustrophobic, I guess, in that space, and just sort of waking up and then just being in the same living room and just watching, Harry Potter movies or, crying together on the sofa or something. I mean, eventually, what I felt anyway, I just needed to get out.
Mm-hmm. It's very overwhelming. And everyone, I talk about the grief bubble, and everyone just brings food.
Yeah.
And like everyone's just there, which is like lovely because no one knows what to do at a time like that.
Yeah.
And I think everyone was just in a bit of a state of shock, but I think it was just like a lot. There was always people at the house.
Yeah, it was
just overwhelming.
It was a conveyor belt, really, of people wanting to obviously come
just
and
help, yeah.
Which is, amazing. Looking back on it, it's like, wow, like
so kind of everyone.
So kind of everyone. Like, what a support network we really have. But and also at the same time, it's a lot given what happened. So yeah, I think I
don't blame you
to get out, I guess, and not be in that space for another week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also it was all just like very sudden. So I think we were just like in a state of shock. So I don't think it felt weird to go back to school. I don't know.
No.
It was like, okay, back to school I go. Got to do my A-levels.
Got to do my A-levels, yeah.
Oh no. But yeah, I feel like your school experience was good.
Yeah, I think we've spoken it before, very different to what your school experience is, I guess. I don't know why it is anyway, but I think they were just straight on it, I think. So obviously Matt passed away on the weekend. I had a lot of really good friends at my school, friends that I'd been to nursery with, primary school with and secondary school with, and a couple of girls from primary school that was also there in sixth form. So they all got taken aside on the Monday because they obviously known what happened on the weekend. And they basically, the school, like, look, you don't have to, you can all be together and, this is a lot for you guys to take, obviously a lot for us to take. But they had like sort of a day at school where they weren't at school and all together in a room. And, I guess dealing with their grief and also I guess kind of in a way sort of preparing them for my return in a way.
Yeah.
Like, they could all sort of, I guess, work together and be my sort of support network.
100%. Because I think also with grief at a young age is then you have to realise that the people around you are also young. Yeah. So like for them to be able to support you, they need support almost. You have to support the support system to really make sure that the person right in the centre, like...
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, actually.
Yeah.
Because I think that, I'm not going to speak for them, but I guess them helping me throughout those years at school, those early years, I mean, they're not they're not prepared to, help one of their best mates grieve at 16. So they, I think it was really good that they did that. And they also when I went back to school, they sort of put me in like a buddy system, which was quite good. So I think in every class I had someone that was, if I ever felt overwhelmed at anything at school, I would obviously be allowed to leave the school, not leave the school, leave class, leave class, and just go on a walk. And one of my few good friends, that were very close to me, were allowed to sort of just leave the class with me and just have a walk around if I was just overwhelmed for 10 minutes. Which, I feel that was a really good point that they did. And also, my head of year was really good as well. Yeah. I guess we didn't always get to see eye to eye before that, but I think when things like that happen, you kind of think, okay, you're not just a teacher. Yeah. You're a person, right? I wish you know that they're a person. Like you're like school, Mr. So and so, or Sir, as we should say. But yeah. But I think it gave me, obviously me personally, like a very different perception of him, and I think it also gave my friends a bit different perception of him, and he was just really good throughout. It
gives you like a bit of a more grasp on reality as well, as you say. Like, he was your teacher up until that point, but then when something like that happens, you realise that like he actually is a good bloke and like he's going to help you through it. Yeah. So I think that was a big thing with your school that mine didn't, was like the freedom around your choices of like, you can leave, but you don't have to. There's people to talk to, but you don't have to. Yeah. Like sort of giving you like a lot of choices.
Yeah, I think so.
Which I think is just important because everyone grieves differently. You might not have needed any of that, but you might have needed all of it.
Yeah. And like, exactly. You don't know how you're going to react on a certain day or when something's going to trigger you.
Yeah. Like, so true.
At all. So that freedom to, leave the class and just walk and just go have a cry or just have a chat with one of your good mates.
And you're not alone as well. That's another thing they did was so nice. Like they made sure someone was with you.
Yeah. Sure, they like to be able to leave.
Yeah, they're like,
Luther's Reformation for half an hour for a bit.
No, I like that. Like, cheers, Harry. You're a great friend. Gotta laugh.
Yeah, let's go to the school shop.
Yeah. Or can I get a cookie? Nice. But you start like, as I say, like I think at school as well, you have to use it. I hate to say it, but like, I'm going to take the small pleasures out of this crap situation, to be honest. And if that means I can leave and go to the school shop with my mate, I will. Yeah. Goodbye. Like I did that at school. One thing my school did was they went, if you ever need a nap, you can go to Matron and have a nap. So every week, like clockwork in physics, I went and had a nap. Yeah. Because I didn't like physics.
And I was going to say you chose a subject wisely.
Of course. Yeah. Never going to leave drama and go for a nap. No way. But like, and I think people view that however they want to view it negatively, but to be honest, whatever gets you through the day, in my opinion, and you're still at school, and I think that's pretty impressive anyway, to be at school, especially that soon after. So I think whatever either of us did, pat on the back.
Yeah, too right.
Too right. But yeah, school's weird, it's hard to navigate, and I found my person at school. Your school was all round quite supportive.
I was very lucky.
People within friends as well.
Yeah, I was very lucky to be fair with how my school dealt with it. You obviously had a slightly different experience, but you also, I guess, got to experience it when you went to the same school for sixth form.
God, yeah, best decision I ever made.
Following me again.
Yeah, I'm following you, but you followed Georgia. No, actually, no, she followed you. Yeah. Clever. Harry's just setting those standards. None of us got into
I think that, yeah, that's true. I tried. I got a letter saying you can come to Tiffin now if you want. A year into Reeds. But
and then you're like, nope.
No, I'm settled now.
Yeah. But yeah, they were
Matt
great.
used to like to remind me of that one.
Always. But yeah, the school we went to for sixth form, like they were great. Like they all think as well. What I experienced when I went, obviously I had the foundation of you had been there. So they knew, and a lot of the teachers obviously knew. But I think what Reeds did that my other school didn't is everything followed through at Reeds. So like they'd make sure all the teachers knew you and what happened. And it was a very personal school. and sort of most people knew you by like name, and they really cared about that. And on those big days like Matt's anniversary or Matt's birthday, which are when I joined the first like week of my, well, couple of weeks of my school experience, they were so on it, but really privately as well. Like, I think that's another thing when you're at school, like it's very easy for other school kids to judge you and think, oh, like they're going through this, and like kids can be nasty because none of us are fully developed yet. But yeah, they just followed stuff through, but like privately, so like it was still under your control almost.
Yeah, they were good.
Which was nice.
Yeah, as you said, they gave us the freedom to grieve how we wanted to grieve.
Yeah.
But also, like, if you didn't want to make a big thing out of something, they wouldn't. I remember even the house arts. Yeah. They're like, do you want to do it for Cragg? Mm. I mean, yeah, I did and loved it. It was first. Well, I didn't love it. I had to do the speech. That was the first sort of big thing that I did, I guess, for Matt, for that house arts.
Which was so impressive.
Yeah. I think gave a tear to mum and dad's eye.
Yeah. And did you ever notice that I literally copied your speech?
Yeah, it was a good speech.
Because I didn't know. But then, but also I sat down and I was like, I don't really know in what other words I can say. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's pretty much only one way to say what happened.
I rewrote. Well, yeah, but I rewrote it loads of times because you don't know how much you want to share.
Yeah,
or like how you phase it.
And, exactly. And like, we did cry as well my year. And that's another thing, like, they offered it.
Yeah.
It wasn't us going, I want to do cry, which felt so nice because it's not always you bringing stuff up or you always putting cry forward. Like, that's another thing that was really nice is they brought it to us.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just good. And thanks, another thing I copied. Speech. But yeah, it was hard. Yeah. That's such a personal thing.
Yeah. And I'm not great in front of
you were so good. I remember it.
I'm not the biggest public speaker.
No, you were good. You were
trying
to
improve, hence the podcast.
Hey. So then obviously you were sixth form 2 years. So you were 16 when Matt passed away.
Yeah.
And then very quickly you were off to uni. Mm-hmm. So for some context, Georgia, Matt and I all went to Leeds.
Yeah.
Obviously best uni ever. You chose not to go to Leeds and you went up to the Toon
Army. Yeah.
Do you think like place. Matt, yeah, it is a good place, I will admit. Yeah. Do you think Matt played a role in that, whether you knew it or not at the time?
I think indirectly, maybe. I think I wanted to go quite far and reset in a way. So obviously Newcastle was pretty far away, up in the northeast. So yeah, I think obviously, I guess 2 years of immediate grief for Matt at home, at school. I think at the time of my grief, if I'd rolled on into Leeds, where I'd just be faced, I guess, with loads more memories and snippets and ideas of like how Matt would have lived his life and what he would have, gone up to with Joe, who was here earlier, and all that sort of stuff. I think that would have been too hard for me too early. Mm-hmm. It was one of my options because it's good uni, but I just think at my time with my grief, I don't think I could have done that. Whereas I think a little bit different for you, I guess, because you had a bit more, I guess, period of grief. So I guess when it came to time for you to go to uni, you'd say.
I just craved something different. Yeah. And I think also
connection point.
Yeah, and I think being me and Matt are 9 years apart, so I never got a chance to go for drinks with Matt or experience that side of Matt. So I think me going to Leeds was sort of me having a bit of that time with Matt. I'm drinking and going out where Matt was. So it kind of made me feel like he was just a little bit more with me because I was going out where he went out, and it was just a nice connection. But I think also what's so nice about what we've both just said is it does just show you can lose the same person and have a sibling grief, but two of you be completely different people in completely different times of your grief and make a completely different decision that works for you. And I think that's just so important. You have to just do what is right for you and put yourself first, because there's no neither one of what either of you or I did was right or wrong. It was just was right for us.
And how your grief is an ongoing process and it never stops. So, to be honest, probably 3 years ago, if you'd started this podcast, I don't think I would have been in the headspace or be confident or want to do this podcast.
Yeah.
But where I am in my grief cycle now, I feel like I'm in a, I guess, better space and more comfortable speaking around these topics around Matt. So again, is another pointer, really.
Yeah, so true. And to be fair, I probably wouldn't have started this pod 3 years ago.
Yeah.
But hey ho. Look at us now.
Look at us now. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought?
Cool ride, hot ones.
I know, literally. But yeah, and I mean, obviously, it's been 10 years.
Yeah.
It's a long time, and it still like freaks me out, to be honest. But that's obviously been a lot of time for both of us to change. But I think like we definitely had a really different relationship before Matt passed away to now.
Yeah.
Do you think like that changed in your brain because Matt passed away?
Yeah, a little bit. I mean, to be fair, we got on well. We got on well, but we also bickered a lot. Yeah. And we were like the younger two of the four of us, so we spent. I think we spent the most time together. Yeah, obviously.
Exactly, with Nanny
whipping
Pat.
around in Nanny Pat's Nissan Micra.
Yeah.
Me waiting outside your sort of drama lessons, you waiting outside my school, ballet lessons and the like. So,
with our Lunchables.
So we spent a lot of time together. So we probably got on each other's nerves quite a bit.
Yeah. But we were close.
You'd get me in trouble a lot.
Yeah, you bullied me.
Yeah, well, bully's a strong word.
I'm joking. You sibling bullied me.
Yeah, okay, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
I also just cried when I didn't need to, and then got you in trouble, so we were even.
Little drama girl cry, a little wink of the eye to Dad as I'm getting sent to my room. But we were still, but I guess, as you say, we were young. You were 13, 16 when Matt passed away, so previous to that, we weren't. Yeah, right, so bickered, but again.
That was normal.
Yeah, I think I've definitely changed. It's obviously changed it a lot, but I think me and you have become a lot closer, and you've gone from a sibling to a friend now, and someone I confide in, and you've come a long way in yourself, which is really beautiful to see. I'm very proud of that. And I think I've done that as well in a way. I think, as you say, 9-year gap between you and Matt, looking at videos and photos from, the year of or the year prior to Matt passing, you were so young. And I think forget how young you actually were when it all happened. And to lose Matt, who was the big brother, the not the glue, but like, the one that would break us up if we were arguing, or like, tell me to, get a grip of myself, be nice to your sister, all that sort of stuff. And then that went in a snap, basically. So yeah, I felt like I needed to, I think subconsciously I felt, and again, and then thereafter consciously felt that I needed to be that older brother that you had, right? As well as being the annoying, playful brother. So I'm, balancing it out a little bit.
Yeah. That's a lot to also like fall on your shoulders whilst grieving your brother too.
Yeah, but to be honest, it didn't feel that hard to me. It was just me giving myself a bit of a wake up call and being like,
and I think you would have gone that way. Like we would have gotten here anyway.
Yeah, I think I was like older brother, but like I guess a bit kinder and a bit more understanding, and not looking to bicker with you, although I used to enjoy it. But things happen in your life, and you change how you act and how you see people. But yeah, I guess it was a bit tough trying to fulfill two roles in a way, I guess.
Because you're just also still trying to be yourself. You don't want to be Matt.
No.
Because you're not Matt, you're Harry. And you'll always be Harry. So that's like a pressure as well, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Everyone expecting stuff from you, but you're like, but I'm Harry.
I am me. I try. Yeah, exactly. I mean, I think as we spoke about before, I spoke with Mum about it. obviously everyone grieves in their own way and everyone has their own unique loss. And we obviously have sibling grief, and this is not to belittle anyone's grief in our family at all, but my grief is a unique grief, specifically for us. Obviously, Mum and Dad both lost a son, and you and Georgia both lost a brother, but you both still have a son and brother. Whereas with me losing Matt, I lost a brother, basically. Well, obviously still will always have a brother, but I lost a brother in that sense of, I guess, in the physicality of it.
You're the only one who lost something that still doesn't have it there in a sense of... Yeah.
And it's really hard, to be honest.
Yeah, really hard. And also you were 16. And I just want to say, I think because I was 13, maybe sometimes that took away from also how young you were.
Yeah.
Like 16 is so young.
Yeah. Yeah. And I was definitely immature, skinny little kid at that time. So, I mean...
A lot to cope with.
Yeah. Yeah.
But our dynamic, I think, is a positive I take. I think we would have got, and as I said, I think we would have got hit anyway, but I do think, like...
I think he'd be proud of us.
100%. He would
Mainly
love
me.
this. Yeah, fine.
Well, no, proud of you, but he'd be proud that
I think so.
matured.
I think so, and he would look down, like, example, like now, and be like, oh, this is so nice.
Yeah.
And I think he'd be so proud of you speaking and coming on, like, yeah, I just think it's hard, and it's hard to stay close, I think, as well, to family when you lose someone within your family unit, but we have been very lucky. It's not been easy.
No, I am quite bad at on my WhatsApps.
Yeah, you're really annoying. Don't reply for like a month.
Sorry, Mum. Sorry, Frankie. Sorry, all.
But we've stayed a family unit, which is really nice. And we were a family unit before, and we all grieve so differently. But I think that's actually what works. I think if we were to all grieve the same, we couldn't have 5 of me. God, it'd be a nightmare.
I do love you, but 5 of you would be...
I didn't even want another one of me. But yeah, I think that's another thing to note is, like, it's normal to grieve differently within a family. Just because you've lost the same person, they were a different person to you.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But weird. But something we do, which is really nice as well with Matt, is we celebrate Matt a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we're really close with his friends, which I think is really nice. And all of our friends come. We do this thing called Matt Fest.
Yeah.
Which is lovely, but also a little bit hard. How do you find Matt Fest?
It's great, to be honest. I mean, initially it was really great. I mean, everyone coming, celebrating Matt, raising.
We had like 400 people at one point, 1 year.
Did we really?
Yeah.
Wow, that is a lot.
I mean, yeah, raise money for Cragg, which is always...
important. And, I think what's great about celebrating Matt is that we get to see a lot of Matt's friends, which, I guess, I kind of feel like in a way we probably see Matt's friends more than
if he
we
was
probably would, or like as together as a group. Like we might see them, all individually.
100%.
Shout out Joe in the booth, but it's nice to have that connection. So I do enjoy that. It is obviously hard because the reason everyone's there is for Matt, and then we have to watch Mum do her speeches, which I mean, I don't know how she does it, honestly.
I don't know how she does it.
I'm not much of a crier, but every time Mum speaks, like you're on my throat, like cut class off, and
And everyone's also. Do you ever find like people try to let us find you in a crowd?
Yeah, I always try and find you.
Yeah, I just try and find you or Georgia. I'm like someone.
Yeah.
But it's nice because all of our friends come as well, and I think that's something so nice that comes out of it is they all mingle. Like you don't go to Matt Fest and like our friends are there and Matt's friends are there and Mum and Dad's friends are there. Like everyone is just mingling, and I feel like my friends now know Matt's friends, which, as you say, like probably wouldn't have actually happened. And that's something I love because obviously something I've always struggled with in my individual grief with Matt is I don't have many people around me that knew him for him. They only know him through me, which is why I think I love Matt Fest. I find it really hard but I like that my friends get to know Matt through his friends.
Yeah, that's actually quite an interesting point.
Yeah, because
it helps your friends get to understand Matt, and then they're therefore get to understand you better and what you've lost, basically, and what the type of person,
and what better way exactly, and what better way to share him than like an event that he would love to be at with all of the people he loved.
Yeah, and like it went away for a while in COVID, and then a lot of Matt friends directly were like, no, we do love it. Like it's really great. Really good way to bring us all together as well as friends and remember Matt. So yeah, I do like that we do it. I like that we do it, but do you ever feel like I do like the day after? I'm always a bit like I could not socialise the day after. I think I'm just not to do with anyone there, but I think my burnout. I think I'm just like emotionally burnt out. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Just need to sit and binge a TV show and just like Harry Potter or something. Yeah, stunning. That's where it's at. Matt loved Harry Potter, by the way, just as some context. Yeah. If we tend to bring it up a lot. But yeah, so I like that we do that. And you always have all your friends there. So obviously that's another nice thing, is you've had a lot of friends know Matt. Yeah. And they knew Matt, one, through you, but also a lot of your friends have been like our family friends. Mm-hmm. So I was fourth child and most of our family friends had 2 or 3 kids. Yeah. So everyone was sort of like the same age and we'd go on holiday together. So that's like something really nice that you have. But something I wanted to ask you is like in terms of like friendships. Yeah. What's something you really like that your friends do in terms of like with Matt? Like if we're giving advice to like friends of people grieving. To be honest, I don't really ask too much of my friends. Mm-hmm. But they are always there for me. They always know the anniversaries.
Yeah, and it's big stuff like that.
And but it is, and like ongoing, mm-hmm. like obviously it's so ingrained into us, and like they don't have like a calendar invite or something, mm-hmm. or like a reminder that it was a day that Matt passed or it was Matt's birthday, but they just know, and like they'll always send me messages like just
the simple things, isn't it?
Yeah, and like simple things like that. It's just really important because when you're that's a big day of grieving, and like you feel rubbish, and and like it means the world to me anyway. I should probably to you. Just all it needs, like a phone call or just a quick message, just being like thinking about all of you and your family today. Love you loads.
It goes so far.
Yeah, and to be fair, if I ever do want to talk about things, like they'll go talk to me straight away. Yeah, like even like they wouldn't even hesitate. Yeah, they're always kind of ready for it.
Yeah, but they sort of wait for your okay, let's go. Yeah, which is nice. But you know that they're there, and I think those little messages on days like that show that they're there. Yeah, and that's their way of just being like, even always thinking of you. Yeah, and it's always here. Yes. Yeah. And my friends are like that as well. It's usually my cue. Like they'll ask me, but a lot of the time I don't want to talk about it, and sometimes I do. But they just take your cue of where you're at, how you're feeling. Especially like you live with 2 of your best mates now, so I'm sure they can tell if you're having a bad day. Yeah, they do. Normally try to be quite positive, so if I'm down in the dumps, they'll know. But they are really good. Mm. And they know songs that I don't like hearing as well. It's such small things. I remember being at like the Gavs early on in sixth form, and like I think it was, trying to like, live your life still while you're still grieving, and like a song comes on and like Dancing in the Moonlight or Brown Eyed Girl, something like that. It's all the old classics, isn't it?
Yeah, and you're partying away, but then you just walk away and they just know. And not everyone would know that at the party, and
it's the small thing.
And you don't want to say, change the song.
No.
But you'd walk out and then one of them would go, change the song for me. Yeah, it's nice. It's just like,
exactly.
Just being aware.
Mm. Yeah. When I had Shah on, we actually spoke about that, and she was like, it got quite funny at 18th because she'd be like, over the speaker you'd hear do 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 do, and everyone would just go, "Where's Frankie?" And then you'd probably come up to me, and I'd just burst into tears. But like them just doing that, it's just small things like
make the world a difference.
They make a world of difference, and just make you just feel grief is lonely, and it just makes you feel a bit less like you're doing it on your own and you have got people you can lean on.
Yeah.
It's so important. But yeah.
I mean, we got each other, which is good.
Yeah, we're very lucky to have that.
Sibling grief is, we're lucky that me and Georgia have each other.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you sent in that video the other day into our silly siblings chat, which is basically like, which I didn't really kind of think about until, I think Georgia might have sent one in like 6 months ago or something, but it's like, siblings know you better than anyone. And
because
you live your whole life together. Like,
yeah.
the longest person I will know, I guess,
yeah.
in our life is siblings. Right?
Yeah.
So.
It's that quote of like, your parents and grandparents go too soon, as in our life.
Yeah.
Your partner and your kids come too late.
Yeah.
But your siblings...
Still searching.
Your siblings are there forever. Well...
Yeah, I know.
Some not.
I know. But it's true.
Got to laugh, dark humour. Sometimes when I do see that quote, I'm like, siblings are forever. And I'm like, shut up.
There's nuances to everything, isn't there?
Yeah, classic. I love it, but I hate it. Love-hate relationship with that sibling thing. But I like the fact that obviously like we are.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I also think doing something in someone you loved's name, there's a bit of a pressure around that. Have you felt pressure around that?
Yeah, a little bit, to be honest. I mean,
You did the half?
I did the half. It's
Would you do a full?
I entered into the ballot, but yeah.
For the full?
Yeah. Before I did the half, but you
yeah.
know, dealer's choice, they didn't want me to run it, so maybe
Oh,
I don't have to run it.
meant to be.
Yeah, I did the half, you know, which for me, I was quite, I think it was a bit of a achievement, but
yeah.
Maybe not for others, but
oh my God, what? Such an achievement. It's also not even just about the half marathon.
No, it's not. It's about doing something. And I did feel quite compelled to do something. I think I'm quite a silent griever, or I'm very sort of within myself, or I definitely was for like the first sort of half of this decade of our grief, which sounds ridiculous.
Nice.
But I didn't speak too much. I didn't really. I did a little bit, but like I just sort of soldiered on, I guess.
Yeah.
But then, I did want to do something from that. I still want to do more things from that now. I think I'm in a place where I can do it. So
yeah,
I'm happy that I did that half marathon.
I had a lot
of support. It was great.
Yeah, so much support. And do you think there was ever any pressure there, or was that ever like just pressure you put on yourself?
Yeah, like a little bit of pressure's, I guess, the wrong word. It's more like
just like
like being
compelled to.
Yeah, like I do. I don't want to do this for the sake of doing it.
No, you obviously have a deep reason to be doing it.
Exactly, and I want to, I guess, contribute in a way to all the fundraising that all of our amazing support network and Matt's friends and everyone's doing. Like, I mean, if Joe can go run a full marathon, I could do a half at least.
Yeah. Do you think that there's an aspect of like you want Matt to be proud of you?
Yeah, 100%.
He definitely is.
Yeah.
Because
I think so.
I feel like, can I say that maybe running a half marathon was a little bit out of your comfort zone?
Yeah, I think that's very fair.
But the fact you've done it and then also you carried on running, like, he'd be so proud of you.
Yeah, thanks. I think he'd be proud of all of us, just deciding on. But yeah, I remember just saying to Dad one day, I was just like, screw it, I need to do.
I got to do it.
I need to get, I actually need to get healthier in my life.
I need to go for a run.
Yeah, I mean, I could go to run, but I'm not targeting anything.
No, it's nice to have a goal.
A target and a real core reason to do it.
Pushes you.
So when it was, miserable on a February night,
horrible,
and your runner app says you've got to go run to healthcare or something, go out and do it.
Yeah, because it's probably did give you a bit of that. I know. I'm the only one who hasn't.
Are you feeling pressured now?
No.
You're doing this. So,
yeah, I've got this, and I wrote. I'm part of a song.
Oh, you are.
So, I've done a couple of things in his name. But yeah, I think it is a weird thing, and I speak about it a lot with my friends. I think when you've lost someone, like, there can feel like pressure. Pressure might not be the wrong word, but I think in a world that there's lots of fundraising and, stuff like that. I would hate for anyone to ever think that like they're not doing justice by not doing anything. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I hope that no one feels like
of course not.
They have to. But it is nice. It definitely feels. Also, just think it lets you feel a bit like more connected to that person. Like he's like shoving you along London.
Yeah.
Come on.
Exactly. I had a
let's go.
I had a Spotify playlist that we made actually quite soon after Matt passed for his celebration memorial with Lauren. And I remember listening to that music for like the beginning of the half marathon.
Did you run to that?
Well, I tried to, and I was like, it's just too sad, too slow, and too emotive. So
I'm just gonna cry whilst running my half, and I need to be keeping my tears in. I need to not be dehydrated.
Yeah. Switched it out to Fred again and got cliche as it is.
Yeah, who cares? But it is like I think that's it's a nice thing to do. I think you should be really proud of yourself.
Thanks.
And waiting for your full.
Yeah, we'll see.
If you do a full, I'll do a half.
Okay. Deal.
Can't shake. It will mess up the mic.
Okay. We'll shake
later. But yeah, how do you okay, this is something I did want to ask you. Because I'm quite a spiritual person, right? Yeah. My spiritual little brain. How do you connect with Matt now? Like, do you think there's little ways that you do you speak to him or just feel him around you? What's your...
I'm not as spiritual as your mum, but I do see a lot of sentiment and things, and it's nice to... I feel like you look for it a little bit, but even if you look for it and find it, it's still just nice to see that. So I was at my work in a industrial estate, and I saw a MC in a derelict parking lot.
Yeah,
past by today. I was like, why was that? I don't even know what it stands for, but it was there. And I was like, that's obviously he's not put it there, but
it's a sign.
It's a touch point.
Also, it's a sign that you've seen it potentially on that day you saw it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think it's also with stuff like this, I just think if it makes you feel even that little bit better, just allow it to make you feel more connected to them or whatever it makes you feel. It's just nice. That must have been a nice moment when you saw that.
Yeah, it was nice.
Whether you're spiritual or not, it's bit
of a glow. I mean, white feathers, all about little robins. You look out for them, they do come in
weird times.
Very weird times, and white butterflies. So I don't know how fully I do probably believe in it a little bit, or maybe there's a want to believe in it.
Yeah, that's true. Or just open to it.
Yeah,
potentially.
Music helps me a lot with Matt.
Yeah,
as I just sort of touched on. So obviously we have that playlist. So,
yeah.
Just loads of different songs that connects to you really, and and you know what, some of the ones top man, You and I, One Direction, Little Things,
Free Falling. I literally can't listen to.
Oh yeah, John Mayer.
I think that takes me too far.
Mulan, I listened to the other day.
I'll make a man out of you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So good.
But things like that, because it's obviously that song's not meant directly for me and Matt, but that kind of message.
Yeah.
It's he was you will grow up.
Yeah.
You will become a man in a way.
I like that. I'd never thought about it like that.
Or Ben Howard. What was it? Keep your head up, keep your heart strong.
Yeah.
No.
You listen.
That one.
Music's powerful.
Yeah.
This is a bit of a vulnerable moment for me. Do you ever I sometimes if I need a good cry, I put a sad playlist on. Do you ever do that?
If you want to cry?
Yeah. Or if I feel like I'm about to cry, I need theme music. I don't like crying in silence.
Oh,
so sometimes I sit in my car.
Yeah.
And put a sad playlist on.
I definitely did. I used to drive to Matt's music a lot.
Yeah. It just feels like your own little bubble, doesn't it, in the car?
Yeah. And obviously I have my ring as well.
Yeah.
Which basically never left me, obviously. So,
yeah. And that's something special all three of us have, which is nice. I've got my bracelet.
Yeah, exactly right. So we all...
Which actually Matt bought us.
Yeah, we all
Technically.
Technically, yeah.
We didn't have any choice in the matter, but
Well, it was all from his...
It was his last paycheck.
And his savings for
Yeah.
travelling, right? Which he unfortunately never got to. So, yeah, having that with me... just
if anyone ever tried
to
take this from me, I would...
Well, this was fitted to my finger when I was younger, but I'm getting a bit chubbier, so if you want to try and take that, it's going to take a long time.
Go on, mate. Go on.
But yeah, I take that with me.
Yeah.
Give it a little kiss before anything important or big. Yeah. So probably those are the two ways I connect with him directly.
And do you know what? Like, I think you saying that will make it just feel more normal. Just whenever you choose to connect with your person, you connect with that person. Like, I kiss my phone twice every night before I go to bed. I've done it since the day Matt passed. Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, but it's just something small I do that just feels like comfortable to have. I have a song I listen to that like Matt taught me the lyrics to before I do anything like big. Shout out really Richie.
Stronger than ever.
Yeah. I listened to it before like any big interview, any big day.
He loved that
like,
song, didn't he?
Oh my God, and he like taught me the like rap to it.
Yeah. Then he was in Game of Thrones.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he was. Great one. Oh, I loved it. Oh, do you know something I really think makes me sad is Matt never got to see the end of Game of Thrones. Actually, it doesn't make me sad because
it ended
butchered the ending. But he didn't get to see like some of the good parts of Game of Thrones because he loved Game of Thrones. But
I think it's also important that by connecting to someone you're grieving, like it doesn't always have to be a really like powerful emotive connection. Like when I think of Matt or I want Matt with me for anything I'm doing, like I don't need to have like this big sort of like 20-minute like emotive sad feeling. I just need a little kiss in the ring, little tap, and just a bit of a boost, really.
Yeah.
So I think that it's important that you can remember and recall.
Shapes and sizes.
Yeah, you can remember and recall and use grief, quickly, and like remembrance of people to just. It doesn't have to always be a big thing to tap into that world again.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So true, and it can be as small or big.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be spiritual. Yeah. It can literally just be whatever tiny thing just makes you feel like, okay, let's go.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice, I like that. Okay, what piece of advice would you give? I always try and like end on this because I think it's nice because obviously you've been through a lot. We've also had 2 other losses since Matt. So
yeah,
what advice would you give to someone grieving a loss of a brother?
Whoa.
It's a loaded one. It's a loaded question, but like it can be tiny.
I think probably 2 things specifically for me. I think what I struggled with a lot was going back onto that point about our grief and my unique grief is a lot of people in a way kind of probably see a lot of Matt in me. And when I was growing up at Cobham Rugby Club, I was always known as like Mini Matt. So trying to, and again, like we do a lot of things with our family where like a lot of our family friends have like 2 brothers or 2 brothers, and that's always been really hard for me, like doing dads and lads things or doing family trips where we used to grow up as brother and brother and 2, me and Matt and then 2 brothers. You probably know the families we're talking about. So that element's really hard for me, but then also not to compare yourself to that. You are who you are. You take all the great traits that your brother has, and then you take all the greats you have, and then hope you become a better person. So you're not going to be who your brother was. I mean, I looked up to him massively. Obviously, he's like the most constant best friend I ever had. So losing him has been obviously incredibly difficult. But also, so like don't compare yourself. You are who you are. And then I guess more general grief is something that I wish I would have learned earlier or done earlier, is to not be afraid. Like, don't be afraid to tap into it.
Yeah.
Don't be afraid to talk to people outside of your close friendship group or family. Don't be afraid to speak about the good things about your brother. Like, even if there's something, you're at a rugby game or something with Dad and you go, oh, do you remember that reminded me of Matt? Or do you remember when Matt did that or something? Like, sometimes you feel like, I don't want to like say anything because like you don't want to just trigger. And that's what a lot of our friends think.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just don't be afraid.
Yeah.
And like, don't be afraid to open up videos or sort of memories of him. Because I think my I guess inability or not wanting to do that for a while, like being a silent sort of enclosed griever, I think in a way has affected a bit of my sort of recall and memory. A little bit. I mean, obviously I'm like a trigger memory guy, so if someone gives me a moment, I'll remember everything, but I can't recall things. I think there's an element of me blocking it out. But
I think so too.
Don't compare and don't be afraid.
Yeah, it's hard, and fear is quite overwhelming in grief, and I think you're so right. Looking back at those photos, some people love it, some people hate it, because it's both comforting but also incredibly hard and painful.
Yeah.
But I would say more often than not, when I do look back and allow myself to tap into a lot of that, I tend to leave feeling a slightly bit better, potentially. And it's hard to do, but again, also with talking to people, more often than not, you're going to leave that conversation feeling more supported, more comforted, like you're not doing it alone. And I think that's so important, especially when you're this young.
Yeah.
Dealing with grief can be tricky.
And keep your family close.
Keep your family close. Oh, I like that.
And be friends.
Yeah, be friends and
be
just
vulnerable with each other.
Be vulnerable with each other and respect that you do it differently.
Yeah.
I like it. That's nice to end on. Yeah, thank you for coming on.
It's been a pleasure.
I hope it was therapeutic.
It was.
A nice walk down, well, not nice, some of it, but a bit of a walk down memory lane.
Yeah, I mean, I was a little bit apprehensive and vulnerable, but as ever, Franks, you've made everyone who's coming here welcome, and the episode I listened to so far have been great, so super proud of you, and keep it going.
I will do. Thanks for coming on, and thank you for listening. Thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode of Lost and Found with Frankie. If it's resonated with you, or if you've taken something from this episode, or if you've just sat down and enjoyed it, I'd be so grateful if you could rate and review the show on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Hit that follow button, and if you're watching me over on YouTube, please give it a like and subscribe. I really want to reach as many young people and teens who are dealing with grief, as I know firsthand how much hearing conversations like this can help. So if you know someone who could benefit from what we've talked about here today, please give it a share with them too. And come say hello on Instagram and TikTok at Lost and Found with Frankie. So thank you again for being in this space here with me, and I'll see you next time.